The breaking point, the last straw, Admiral Sarah Chun stood at the massive viewing window of Station Nexus Prime, watching the swirling colors of the Harmony Nebula beyond. The sight usually calmed her, but today her jaw was clenched tight with frustration. Behind her, the Grand Assembly Hall buzzed with the voices of 8 different alien species, each one more agitated than the last. The universal translators worked overtime, converting clicks, whistles, growls, and harmonious tones into understandable speech. For 75 years, humanity had been part of the Galactic Peace Council. They had mediated wars, shared technology, provided medical aid, and kept trade routes safe. Yet here they were, being blamed for every problem in the galaxy. The accusations began. Diplomat Robert Kane sat at the curved table, his weathered face showing the strain of months of negotiations. Across from him, the Vorthan Empire's representative, Chancellor Zixtar, rose to his full 8-foot height. His purple scales shimmered under the artificial lights as he spoke with barely contained anger. The humans have grown too powerful, Zixtar declared, his forked tongue flicking out between words. Their influence spreads like a virus across our territories. They interfere in matters that do not concern them. Kane kept his voice steady. We only respond when asked for help, Chancellor. Your own empire requested our assistance with the mining disputes on Kepler-7 just last month. That was different. The Kalari Syndicate speaker, a jellyfish-like being named Velandro, pulsed with agitated colors. You humans always find excuses to expand your presence. Your medical stations, your research facilities, your peacekeeping fleets. You are everywhere. Admiral Chun turned from the window. At 55, she had spent half her life dealing with galactic politics. Her silver hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and her uniform bore the insignia of a dozen successful peacekeeping missions. Our medical stations have saved millions of lives, she said calmly. Our research facilities have developed cures for diseases that plagued your species for centuries. Our peacekeeping fleets have prevented wars that would have cost billions of lives. The Alien Coalition, the massive insectoid representative of the Hyvex, clicked his mandibles in what passed for laughter among his kind. Drone Commander ZZ Kathith, compound eyes reflected the room's lights as he spoke. The humans speak of saving lives while they corrupt our young with their dangerous ideas, he buzzed. Their teachers spread concepts of individual thinking and questioning authority. This destroys the natural order of our societies. The crystalline being from the Christic Union, Resonance Prime Quill, chimed in with musical tones. Their technology makes our own obsolete. Our finest engineers cannot compete with human innovations. They are making us dependent on them. Kane rubbed his temples. We've shared our technology freely. We've never charged for medical treatments or educational programs. Everything we've done has been to help create a more peaceful galaxy. The aquatic Zealand representative, Wavesinger Mercall, spoke through her water-filled breathing apparatus. Peace through domination is still domination. Your species seeks to remake the galaxy in your image. Admiral Chun felt her patience wearing. Then, what exactly are you proposing? Chancellor Zixtar stood again, and this time the other alien representative stood with him. The Galactic Peace Council has voted. Humanity's expansion must be limited. Your medical stations will be transferred to local control. Your research facilities will be shut down. Your peacekeeping fleets will be disbanded. The human response, Kane's eyes widened. You're talking about dismantling 75 years of cooperation. Millions of beings depend on our medical facilities. Our peacekeeping forces are the only thing preventing war in a dozen systems. That is exactly the problem, hissed the Thraxian Horde's battle caller, Grokmar, his reptilian features twisted with anger. You have made the galaxy dependent on you. This ends now. The gaseous nebulan representative, Thought Cloud Vex Ala, swirled in her containment suit. Furthermore, all human technology will be confiscated and studied by a joint alien committee. Your species has hidden too many secrets for too long. Admiral Chun felt something cold settle in her stomach. Confiscated? You're talking about theft. We prefer the term galactic security measure, Chancellor Zixtar said with a cruel smile. Kane stood up slowly. This is madness. You're punishing. You's for helping you. The Melody Collective's harmonious representative, chorus leader Symphon, sang in overlapping tones. Your help always comes with strings attached. You insert yourselves into our affairs, and then claim to be innocent. The decision Admiral Chun looked around the room at the 8 alien species that had once been humanity's allies. She saw suspicion, fear, and greed in their various expressions. But mostly, she saw ingratitude. Admiral? Kane asked quietly. What are your orders? Sarah Chun had faced down space pirates, negotiated with hostile empires, and led peacekeeping missions in the most dangerous parts of the galaxy. But she had never felt as disappointed as she did at this moment. All human personnel are to implement. Protocol Exodus immediately, she said, her voice carrying across the suddenly quiet chamber. Kane's face went pale. Admiral, are you sure? Protocol Exodus means complete withdrawal from all galactic affairs. I'm sure. She turned to face the alien representatives. You want to see what the galaxy looks like without human interference? You're about to get your wish. The panic sets in the effect was immediate. Chancellor Zixtar's scales shifted to a sickly yellow color. You cannot simply leave. The Galactic Peace Accords require the accords that you just voted to ignore? Chun interrupted. The ones that you used to justify stealing our technology and disbanding our peacekeeping forces. Those accords? Wave Singer Merkel's water. Tank bubbled frantically. Admiral, please reconsider. There are urgent matters that require human mediation. The Outer Rim disputes, the plague zones, the pirate activities, asterisk. Not our problem anymore, Chun said coldly. You've made it clear that human help is unwanted. Drone Commander ZZ Kathethis' wings buzzed in agitation. This is irrational. The galaxy needs human services, even if your political influence must be limited. Kane was already activating his communication device. All human stations. This is Diplomat Kane. Protocol Exodus is now in effect. All personnel are to evacuate immediately. Abandon all equipment and facilities. The evacuation begins within hours. The evacuation had begun. Across 200 star systems, human doctors packed their medical supplies and prepared to leave alien patients behind. Human teachers said goodbye to alien students who had learned to think for themselves. Human engineers shut down the communication networks and transportation systems they had built. Dr. Lisa Park, chief of the medical station, orbiting Vorthan Prime, received the evacuation order while treating a Vorthan child with a rare genetic disorder. The child's parents begged her to stay, but orders were orders. I'm sorry, she told them through tears. My government has been told that human help is no longer wanted. On the trade route patrol ship Defender, Captain Mike Torres watched as pirate ships began gathering in the distance. For 20 years, his ship had kept this route safe. Now he was ordered to abandon it. Sir, his communications officer called out, we're receiving distress calls from merchant vessels. The pirates are already attacking. Ignore them, Torres said, hating every word. We're going home. Immediate consequences. The Kalari Syndicate's economic hub began experiencing communication failures within 6 hours of the human evacuation. Their entire interstellar network depended on human-built quantum communicators. Valandra frantically tried to contact the human technical team, but found only empty offices and shut down equipment. The Thraxian horde discovered that their newest conquests were already in rebellion. Without human peacekeepers to maintain order in disputed territories, old conflicts reignited immediately. Battle caller Grokmar watched in horror as 3 of his occupied worlds declared independence and began fighting each other for control of strategic resources. The medical crisis, the Christic Union, faced the most immediate crisis. A plague that had been contained by human medical protocols began spreading rapidly through their crystal cities. Without human doctors and their advanced treatments, the death rate climbed exponentially. Resonance Prime Quill's musical tones turned discordant with panic as he tried to contact any human medical facility. All he found were automated messages. This facility has been permanently closed due to the termination of human participation in galactic affairs. The HFY discovered that their carefully maintained genetic diversity programs were collapsing. Human scientists had been managing their breeding protocols to prevent the genetic bottlenecks that had plagued their species for millennia. Realization in the Melody Collective's harmony chambers, chorus leader Sinfon tried to coordinate a response to the crisis. But their communication systems were failing, their medical centers were overwhelmed, and their trade routes were under constant pirate attack. For the first time in their species' history, the Melody could not maintain their musical harmony. Their songs became chaotic, filled with fear and confusion. Wave singer Merkel floated in her private chambers, watching reports of disaster pour in from across the galaxy. The aquatic Zealants had always prided themselves on their independence, but now she realized how much they had relied on human services. Their water purification systems, their deep-sea mining operations, their terraforming projects, all of them used human technology and human expertise. The end of Part 1. As the first week of human withdrawal came to an end, the galaxy began to understand what they had lost. The same species that had accused humans of interference were now begging for that interference to return. But the human ships were already beyond the galactic rim, heading for Earth. Admiral Chun stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the stars that had once been humanity's second home fade into the distance. "Any second thoughts, Admiral?" Kane asked. Chun's expression was hard as stone. They wanted to see the galaxy without human interference. Let them have it. Behind them, the galaxy descended into chaos. Asterisk Galaxy in chaos 3 months later, the Galactic Peace Council chamber on Station Nexus Prime was a shadow of its former self. Half the seats were empty, their occupants either dead or too busy fighting wars to attend meetings. The remaining alien representatives looked haggard and desperate. Chancellor Zixstar of the Vorthan Empire bore fresh scars across his purple scales. His once proud military uniform was scorched and torn. Across from him, the Kalari Syndicate's new representative, Nex Adar, flickered weakly in his containment suit. The original speaker, Velandra, had died in the plague that swept through their homeworld. The war spreads. The Vorthan-Kalari conflict has now spread to 47 star systems, reported the station's automated systems in a cold, mechanical voice. Without human technicians to maintain the sophisticated reporting networks, they had to rely on basic computer programs. Chancellor Zixstar slammed his clawed fist on the table. This war could have been avoided. The mining rights dispute on Kepler 7 was a minor issue. Human mediators would have solved it in days. Nexadar's tentacles writhed in agitation. Your empire attacked our merchant fleets without warning. Where were the human peacekeepers to prevent this escalation? Gone, buzzed Drone Commander Zeshith of the HFY, his compound eyes dull with exhaustion. Gone because we drove them away. In our arrogance. The HFY had suffered the worst genetic collapse in their recorded history. Without human scientists to manage their breeding programs, entire hive cities had fallen to genetic diseases that had been eliminated decades ago. Medical Catastrophisance Prime Quill of the Christic Union played a mournful tune as he spoke. The plague has consumed 60% of our crystal cities. Our population has dropped from 12 billion to 4 billion in 3 months. The crystalline being's music was filled with harmonics of grief and despair. The Christic had always believed their silicon-based biology made them immune to most diseases. They had been wrong. The human medical stations had been monitoring and treating dozens of dormant pathogens in our systems. Quill continued. Without their constant care, these diseases have reactivated simultaneously. Wave Singer Mercol's water tank was cloudy with stress chemicals. The aquatic worlds are no better. The Zealand deep plague has returned after 50 years of human treatment. Our underwater cities are becoming graveyards. The irony was bitter. The same species that had accused humans of making them dependent had discovered just how dependent they truly were. Economic collapse, the Melody Collective's new representative, Discord singer Craigtal, could barely maintain a coherent tune. His predecessor, chorus leader Sim Fawn, had died in a transportation accident when the human-maintained space lanes failed. Our interstellar economy has collapsed by 80%, he sang in broken harmonies. The human communication networks carried 90% of our trade data. Their logistics systems coordinated delivery of essential supplies across the galaxy. Without human space traffic controllers, ship collisions had increased by 300%. The carefully coordinated dance of interstellar commerce had become a chaotic mess of delayed shipments, lost cargo, and communication failures. The gaseous nebulon, Representative Stormcloud Nexius, swirled frantically in her containment suit. Piracy has increased by 400% in the former human patrol zones. Our merchant vessels are being attacked daily. The major trade routes are no longer safe. The Thraxian Revelation battle caller Grokmar of the Thraxian Horde looked nothing like the proud warrior who had demanded human withdrawal 3 months earlier. His reptilian features were gaunt from poor nutrition, and his battle-scarred hide bore fresh wounds from rebellions across his territory. The humans were not just peacekeepers, he admitted reluctantly. They were the backbone of interstellar civilization. Our food distribution systems, our medical networks, our communication grids, all of it depended on human expertise. The Thraxian Horde had been among the most vocal critics of human expansion. Now their empire was crumbling. As conquered worlds threw off Thraxian rule without human peacekeepers to maintain stability. The rebellion on Gamma Centauri has spread to 15 systems, Grokmar continued. My fleets are stretched too thin to maintain order. The humans somehow manage to keep peace in these regions with a fraction of the forces we require. Desperate, Measures Chancellor Zixtar stood up, his movements stiff with exhaustion. We must contact Earth. The Terran Republic must be made to understand the severity of the situation. They understand perfectly, said a new voice from the chamber's entrance. All heads turned to see a human woman in civilian clothes walking into the chamber. She was middle-aged, with graying hair and intelligent eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. Who are you? Demanded Drone Commander ZZ-Kate-H. Dr. Amanda Cross, former director of the Galactic Medical Consortium. I was evacuated from the plague zones 3 months ago. She took a seat at the table without invitation. I'm here as an observer, not a negotiator. The human perspective wave singer Merkel's tentacles reached toward Dr. Cross. You must help. U.S. The medical crisis alone has killed billions of beings. Surely your people feel some compassion for our suffering. Dr. Cross's expression remained neutral. The same compassion you showed when you voted to confiscate our medical equipment and shut down our treatment centers? That was a mistake. Resonance Prime Quill chimed desperately. We see that now. The galaxy needs human expertise. We are willing to negotiate new terms. Are you? Dr. Cross pulled out a data tablet. Let me read you some excerpts from the Galactic Peace Council's last session before we withdrew. She cleared her throat and began reading, Chancellor Zixstar, human interference has corrupted the natural order of galactic civilization. Velandra, their medical programs create dependency and weakness in our species. Drone Commander ZZ-Kate-H, human education destroys the hierarchical structures that maintain social order. The alien representatives shifted uncomfortably as their own words were read back to them. The true cost: the galaxy has lost 47 billion beings to preventable diseases in 3 months. Dr. Cross continued. Wars that human mediators would have prevented in hours have killed another 12 billion. Economic collapse has led to famines that have claimed 23 billion more lives. The numbers were staggering. In 3 months without human involvement, more beings had died than in the previous century of galactic conflicts. Your species caused this, Nexadar, accused weakly. You knew what would happen when you left. Dr. Cross's eyes flashed with anger. We caused this? We spent 75 years building a stable, peaceful galaxy. We shared our technology freely, treated your diseases without charge, educated your children, and kept your trade routes safe. And you repaid us by calling us parasites and thieves. The desperate Gambit Chancellor Zixstar fell to his knees, a gesture of submission rarely seen from the proud Vorthan. Please, contact your government. Tell them we were wrong. The galaxy is dying without human help. The Terran Republic has already been contacted, Dr. Cross said coldly. 14 separate diplomatic missions have arrived at Earth in the past month, representatives from every major species, begging for human assistance. Storm cloud Nexius swirled hopefully. And what was Earth's response? The same response you gave us when we tried to help you prevent this crisis. Not interested. The new reality. Dr. Cross stood up, preparing to leave. The Terran Republic has decided that humanity's future lies beyond this galaxy. We're launching deep space exploration missions to find new worlds, new species to work with. Species that won't stab us in the back the moment we turn around. You cannot abandon us. Drone Commander ZZ-Kite buzzed frantically. We are willing to make any concessions necessary. Any concessions? Dr. Cross paused at the chamber entrance. 3 months ago, you voted to disband human peacekeeping forces, shut down human medical stations, and confiscate human technology. Now you're begging for exactly those things to be restored. The final offer. Chancellor Zixstar stood up, his scales shifting to the pale blue of desperation. What do you want? What would it take for humanity to return? Dr. Cross considered. The question: complete autonomy for human operations. No interference in human medical, educational, or peacekeeping activities. All confiscated human technology to be returned immediately. And formal recognition that human intervention is necessary for galactic stability. Done, said Grokmar immediately. Whatever you require. It's not up to me, Dr. Cross replied. These terms would need to be accepted by the Terran Republic's government. And after 3 months of watching the galaxy tear itself apart, there, not feeling particularly charitable. The uncertain future. As Dr. Cross left the chamber, the alien representatives sat in stunned silence. The galaxy they had inherited after driving out the humans was a nightmare of war, disease, and economic collapse. Stormcloud Nexius broke the silence. How long can we survive without them? Resonance Prime Quill played a soft, mournful melody. The Christic Union has perhaps 6 months before complete societal collapse. The plague will consume what the wars have not. The Hivex will face genetic extinction within a year, buzzed Drone Commander ZZ-Kate-H. Our breeding programs are beyond our ability to repair. Chancellor Zixstar stared out at the stars beyond the station's windows. We drove away the galaxy's healers, teachers, and peacekeepers because we feared their influence. Now we're learning what influence really means. The message to Earthwave singer Merkal activated the station's long-range communication system. This is an emergency broadcast to Earth from the Galactic Peace Council. We formally request the immediate return of human personnel to prevent total civilizational collapse. We accept all terms proposed by Dr. Amanda Cross and await your response. The message would take 3 days to reach Earth. In those 3 days, millions more beings would die from preventable causes. Wars would spread to new systems. The galaxy's infrastructure would continue to crumble. But for the first time in 3 months, the alien representatives felt a small spark of hope. Perhaps the humans would return. Perhaps the galaxy could be saved. Perhaps they had learned their lesson about taking humanity for granted. As the message sped toward Earth, through the quantum communication network that humans had built and maintained for decades, one question remained. Would humanity forgive them? The answer lay in the hands of the species they had so foolishly driven away, the species that had always been willing to help, even when that help was neither asked for nor appreciated. The galaxy waited and hoped and learned what it truly meant to be alone among the stars.